When I made the unboxing video for the Sawback, I thought it looked a lot like the SCX-10. Now I've had a little chance to look at the manual, and there are quite a bit of things different from the SCX-10. So I figured, why not let's take a look at the manual. At first glance, it's a typical manual. Just the parts. They are tiny axles, like I noted before. They get a little bit larger once you put the end pieces on. There's not too much different in the axles. They look pretty much the same. There's specific orientations that you have to follow when you're installing them, just like anything else. A little different, but not too much. Pretty much typical axles. These look a lot like the other G-Made hardware I used. You got your three different methods of suspension, how hard you want it. This one up top seems to be the one that I'm gonna do. Soft suspension for crawling and trailing. But the leaf springs are quite a unique touch for any of the kits that I've built so far. I have no trucks with leaf springs on it, so that's going to be pretty neat to get that together. Up until here, the axles are the same, and then we switch over to the suspension. And like I said, they have quite a few different methods of installation, so that's going to be pretty neat to put together, to work through. So you get past the suspension, and it's basic stuff again. Your servo mount and your servo linkages. They give you aluminum linkages here already. Metal linkages, let's say metal linkages. I assume that they're aluminum, but for the sake of being correct, let's just say metal linkages. I do not have my electronics right now. I'll be building this kit without electronics. I'm not quite sure which way I'll go with the electronics. I'm thinking about going with the Tekin 35 turn system and the FXR to go with it. Typical tranny setup. The gears are a little bit different. These again are similar to the R1 gearing. Just the shape and the general setup of the transmission. I always use my favorite grease, red and tacky, with this, and I'll be using that again here. A unique skid plate. The skid plate has these little rollers on them. I guess to help overcome obstacles. I don't know if that'll help. It certainly won't hinder, but that's something new I haven't seen on any of the other kits that I've done. I never use like the included grease. Some kits, like for the Associated kits, for instance, use their own grease, which I use anyway, like their silicone oils. So I use those, but that's generally it. The shafts are pretty much the same, except for I use grease on all my hinges in my shafts when I build them. And here in the G-Made, they specifically ask you not to use grease or thread lock when building their shafts. I guess they expect that little bit of slop to help the truck. They need that little bit of slop to help run the truck a little better. That's just what I assume. I don't know for sure. But other than that, the shafts are pretty much generally the same as other shafts that you might encounter on other kits. The balls have to be kind of wrenched in with a pair of pliers, and that always stinks, but you can make it happen. It's not the end of the world. Now here's where things get real different from the SEX10. There's a lot of little spacers and all kinds of sorts of little things that attach to the frame here. I'm not quite sure why they need all these spacers or why they didn't run things flush to the C-frame, but in any case the spacers are there, and that's what I'm going to need to do to get the truck built. The shock hoops are different. They're just shock posts. Well, they call them shock stays, and those are quite a bit different. They're solid pieces of aluminum. I think I showed these on the unboxing. And they stand straight up. Not too different. The axial has plastic shock hoops. It's just one little difference between this and the SEX10 kit. There's your frame after it's built, and then everything slides together right after that. Neat little receiver box, and then the ESC mount is directly attached to it. And you attach your leaf springs to your frame, so all that's different. Then what I noticed, they have the craziest shocks I've ever seen, other than those ridiculous G transition shocks. These shocks, they're not oil filled. There's a couple silicone O-rings in them, and the shock spring on the inside, and all of this is held in by a little C-ring. So I'm really interested on how those go together. I've done several videos on shocks, and I'll probably do the same for these since they're so different. I like to profile most of the shocks that I do, and especially when there's a different assembly going on. Those are quite new. I haven't seen anything like those, so I'm pretty interested to see how those turn out. I think those are just to supplement the leaf springs as well, so that may be why they're not oil filled. I don't know. I'll find out as the build goes on. And from there, it seems like it's just tying it together sort of thing, installing your bumpers, your receiver cover, tires, batteries. I'm gonna have to make a Velcro battery strap for this, like I did with the R1, because the plastic zip ties just they're not gonna cut it for me. So see what else I can do. They have instructions to put the foams in the wheels, but the foams already came in the wheels. And that's about it for the manual for the build. Clipping out your body, of course, and getting all the accessories put on. But after that, it's just oh, that's interesting. There's an O-ring that goes on after you put your clip in, and that all holds your body on. So that O-ring acts as sort of a cushion to hold the body up, so it doesn't give that rattling. That's pretty nice. That's a nice feature I haven't seen anywhere else either. And then that's about it for the manual. So I'm actually getting ready to start building this right now, and like I said, there'll be videos for different things, especially those shocks. I'm real interested to see how those shocks turned out. So that's the sawback manual.